advanced. And Tyler will explain that in just a moment, but you'll see the start list here. Lucas Beckenhauser, Lu Zhenshuo, Étienne Bastier, Ernest Daschek, Song Guishu, Ole Hyundai, and Kai Hausmann.
Go to the start. Ready.
And yeah, we were talking about that. There will be Ward Petre in the second Repêchage semifinal adding to it.
So what we saw in that qualifying race was Ole Hyundai going around the outside of Ward Petre, making contact on Ward Petre, who became the victim of that incident and crashed out while in a lead position. They went back, they reviewed the call. They have the ability to do that and change their decision. So that's what's happened there. They gave it a second look. They said, you know what, we didn't get the call right the first time, and they advanced Ward Petre through.
So even if there's no penalty committed, you could be a victim of fortune, and that was the case for Petre, who was in an advancement position and will be in heat number 2. So there'll be 8 skaters on the line in the second heat.
So a real chess match here. This is all about the win. Only one skater going back through to the main event for the World Championship, so no pressure for time. It's been a slower pace, but we see a lot of jogging, a lot of movement for position here. You want to make sure you're positioned towards the front when the pace hits, and here comes Kai Hausmann on the outside.
There will be some very good skaters not moving on. Speckenhauser senses the man from the Netherlands coming, so he opts for the front. But you look at the likes of Zhenshuo, Lu, and Hyundai, and Bastier, and now Song. So there's going to be a lot of good skaters who do not get through. And
strong bump, Speckenhauser on that outside pass. Very similar to what we talked about before. That contact from the outside on the skater on the inside. Speckenhauser throwing up his hands in frustration, but that will get reviewed.
Now there always could be an advancement as well as the winner, and so there is always plan B if plan A falters. But right now it's Kai Hausmann, Song Guishu, Ole Hyundai. And watch out for Étienne Bastier out of Orléans in France. Now Hyundai goes.
Great defensive track pattern by Hausmann here. Very observant, deep track entries. Étienne Bastier, though, beautifully up the inside.
And Hyundai battling back into second. Hausmann more than happy to see everybody battling for the minor positions as he just sits in the front. 1 to go. All to play for here. Hausmann, a quick check on the shoulder. And Bastier on the inside of Hyundai. Everybody does get through the corner, albeit not completely intact, but Hausmann holds off the advancing horde.
Hausmann raced those last 3 laps just beautifully. He was incredibly aware. He was in full control, checking over the shoulder, seeing where the pressure's from. And what he's doing is a bit of a deep track entry. So on the entry, he'd swing a little bit wider so people would kind of clog up on the inside. Then he'd come back in through the turn. They would clog up. So that makes it very difficult for the following skaters to accelerate. But when you start skating that track pattern repeatedly, skaters become attuned to that. So then you see on the last lap, right after the bell, Ole Hyundai is predicting that same track pattern again by Hausmann, and he looks to jump up the inside, but then Hausmann feels it and he changes it up and he stays tight on that corner entry to give that defense. So here's a look at that pass by Song. There's the contact on the knee of Speckenhauser in position number 1.
That time I'm not sure if the pass had been completed, but that is what they're looking at. They'll check to where he was when it happened. They get all the angles down below.
Well, it's another same situation like we mentioned before of the Ole Hyundai and Ward Petre. But let's watch the final laps here. Hausmann there, he stays wide. That's the deep track entry in the last turn. You can see all the skaters get clogged up behind him when he enters wide and then hooks tight.
Good win for Hausmann. I think he is secure, but yes, it could be, yeah, and he loves it.
Very smart racing.
So they are looking, it could be a possible advancement for Speckenhauser. And the second incident is a possible lane change from outside to in on Ole Hyundai, but that would not affect advancements, I don't think. So, yeah, so he does get by, but does the graze happen on the way by?
You have to make sure when you're passing on the outside that you get by cleanly. And I don't want to make any early judgments, but in my opinion, Song did not accomplish that, making that contact. So I do think that the advancement is on the table for Speckenhauser to be put through. There's that lane change on Hyundai I think they're looking at here.
It wouldn't have affected the one position though.
No, there would not be an advancement on this. Incredible job from Étienne Bastier though to maintain his footing, because that could have been a scary crash.
We've seen all kinds of defiance of physics before. We saw yesterday Michał Niewinski doing a full 360 on the ice, stuck the landing, continued, finished second in his race and advanced.
And then Jens van der Wout on that incredible double inside pass. Again, he was almost completely level with the ice. I don't know how he made that move, but again, as you mentioned, Gavin, defying the laws of physics out here.
Someone showed us a picture, and I mean, there was a tiny bit of daylight between Van der Wout's tip, hip, and
final
here we go.
decision. Penalty number 67, China. Penalty number 51, Ukraine. Advancement number 17, Italy. Advancement number 52, France.
Okay, so
Well, we stand corrected, but you know, sorry, I got to clarify. They can still advance in the top 2 positions despite it even being a 1+0 advancement. So we always got to get changed up for the repêchage rounds. So this is the first incident. That's that contact lane change from outside to in on the corner from Song.
Slightest of touch, that's all it takes.
Wait, but when all your weight is on that one leg, it doesn't take much to knock you over. So here's that lane change. You can see how dramatically Ole Hyundai shifts. There's that double pump to squeeze out Étienne Bastier, but Bastier at that point was in second position.
And of course, the argument is that it affected the outcome of the race, so it sort of disrupted his last push to get past Hausmann. So there are going to be some very full start lines this afternoon in the men's 1500 meters as Hausmann, Bastier, and Speckenhauser all going through.